For centuries, the moon has been our silent companion, a cold, lifeless sphere hanging above us. But what if it's not as empty as we've been told? What if, hidden beneath that pale gray surface, there's something, or someone, watching us back? Recent strange discoveries, odd structures, mysterious signals, and unexplained shadows have reignited one haunting question: is someone living on the moon? It sounds impossible, yet the evidence keeps getting harder to ignore. Tonight, we're diving deep into the moon's most unsettling secrets and what scientists might not want you to know. Before we begin, welcome to World's Echoes, the place where hidden truths and cosmic mysteries come to life. If you love exploring the unknown and discovering what lies beyond the edge of understanding, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Your curiosity keeps this journey alive, and trust me, tonight's story is one you'll want to follow till the very end. For as long as we've looked up at the night sky, the moon has felt both familiar and distant. It's the first world we ever reached beyond our own, the one humanity actually walked upon. But since Apollo astronauts left their footprints there, something strange has happened: silence. No one's gone back for over 50 years. Why? We're told it's about funding, politics, or priorities. But some believe there's a different reason, that we found something up there, something that made us stop returning. The first whispers began during the Apollo missions themselves. In July 1969, when Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin stepped onto the moon, radio communications between them and NASA weren't all made public. There are claims that in the hidden transmission gaps, the astronauts reported seeing strange lights and structures near the rim of a crater. Many dismissed it as myth, yet declassified NASA documents years later showed hundreds of unexplained anomalies captured during lunar missions. Blurry images of tower-like shadows, odd domes, and geometric patterns across the moon's surface. Could these be tricks of light? Or remnants of something not made by nature? Let's go back even further, before humanity ever touched the moon. In the early 1800s, a newspaper known as The Sun published what became one of the biggest hoaxes in history, the Great Moon Hoax. They claimed astronomers had discovered forests, lakes, and even winged creatures living on the lunar surface. It was, of course, fiction. But what's fascinating is how quickly people believed it. Even then, humans seemed drawn to the idea that the moon might hold life, or perhaps even intelligent beings. Maybe, deep down, we've always sensed it wasn't truly barren. In the 20th century, new telescopes began revealing something else: mysterious flashes of light on the moon, known as transient lunar phenomena, or TLPs. Scientists have recorded over 1,000 instances of these glowing orbs and streaks that appear and vanish within seconds. NASA officially acknowledges these flashes, yet still can't explain what causes them. Some say it's gas escaping from underground. Others whisper that it's artificial, like the flicker of lights from hidden bases. And then there's the bizarre case of the moon towers. In the late 1960s, a NASA scientist named Bruce Cornett examined photos taken by the lunar orbiter missions. In one image, he spotted what appeared to be a vertical structure stretching miles high, casting an enormous shadow. Later, other images showed spire-like forms rising above craters. Were they camera errors? Natural ridges? Or something deliberately built? But perhaps the most unsettling clue came from the astronauts themselves. Many Apollo veterans, years after retirement, have hinted that what they saw up there wasn't what they expected. Apollo 14 astronaut Edgar Mitchell once said he was privy to information suggesting extraterrestrial presence not just in the universe, but within our own solar system. When asked if he believed intelligent life had been to the moon, he didn't deny it. He simply smiled and said, "Let's just say the truth is not yet out." That statement shook many. What truth was he referring to? Because for decades, the moon has seemed oddly off-limits. The United States, Russia, China all have the technology to return. Yet, after 1972, none did for half a century. Even when new missions were planned, they were mysteriously delayed, changed, or cancelled. Why? Some insiders claim that what was discovered during Apollo was so unsettling it forced silence. Whispers of structures not of human origin, bases on the far side, and unexplained monitoring have lingered in space circles ever since. Let's pause for a moment and consider what we really know about the far side of the moon, the side we never see. For most of history, it was a complete mystery. When the Soviet Luna 3 probe first photographed it in 1959, scientists were stunned. The terrain was completely different, rugged, filled with massive craters and strange smooth patches unlike the familiar side we see from Earth. Later, satellite scans detected unusual magnetic fields and traces of metal deposits concentrated in certain regions. Natural? Maybe. But some researchers wonder if it's evidence of something artificial, the leftovers of a civilization long gone. In 2019, when China's Chang'e 4 mission landed on the far side for the first time, it sent back images of a small, glowing gel-like substance inside a crater. Chinese scientists called it mysterious. It didn't match any known lunar material. Strangely, little was revealed after that discovery. No detailed updates, no full explanation, just silence. So, what's going on? Why do so many missions end in mystery when it comes to the moon's hidden side? Some theorists believe the moon itself might not even be a natural object. It sounds wild, but listen to this. The moon's size, orbit, and distance from Earth are perfectly positioned to cause total solar eclipses, a cosmic coincidence that seems almost too precise. Even more strangely, the moon is hollow, or at least partially so. During the Apollo 12 mission, astronauts deliberately crashed a lunar module onto the surface to study seismic activity. The result shocked scientists. The moon rang like a bell for nearly an hour. NASA's own reports described it as if the moon was made of metallic layers. What kind of natural body does that? If the moon is partly hollow, could it be an ancient construct, maybe a base or vessel placed there for a purpose? It's an idea that's been discussed quietly within aerospace circles for decades. Some even suggest that the moon was brought into Earth's orbit by a highly advanced civilization eons ago, perhaps as a way to observe or even influence our planet. It sounds like science fiction, but let's look at this from another angle. Throughout history, every ancient civilization on Earth has treated the moon as sacred. From the Sumerians to the Mayans, from the Egyptians to the Chinese, all described it as alive, divine, or inhabited by celestial beings. They built temples, performed rituals, and tracked its cycles with obsessive precision. Could they have known something we've forgotten? Modern scientists, of course, reject these ancient tales as myth. But time and again, ancient myths have turned out to hide fragments of truth. Once, we laughed at the idea of Troy until archaeologists found its ruins. Once, we doubted humans crossed oceans before Columbus until ancient DNA and artifacts proved otherwise. So what if, someday, we uncover that the moon's legends were true as well? There's also the curious matter of the moon's orbit itself. It's not just stable, it's unnaturally stable. Planetary scientists have said it's as if the moon was deliberately placed to maintain Earth's balance, controlling tides, stabilizing our axis, and even influencing life's evolution. Without the moon, life as we know it might not even exist. Coincidence? Or intelligent design? Then there's the question of who or what might be living there now. Some believe remnants of an ancient race still exist in the hidden caverns beneath the lunar crust, possibly in suspended animation or technological hibernation. Others think it's not ancient at all, but ongoing. That alien outposts, research stations, or monitoring bases still operate there in secret. A few amateur astronomers even claim to have observed strange moving lights across the moon's surface, like ships taking off or landing. Could these sightings all be mistakes? Maybe. But when you collect decades of unexplained data signals, shadows, flashes, and strange silences, it begins to feel like more than coincidence. And here's where it gets even stranger. In 2020, scientists detected faint radio signals coming from the moon's dark side, signals that didn't match any known spacecraft or Earth-based transmissions. The source was never identified. NASA called it unusual background noise. Others called it what it might be, communication. Now let me ask you something, and I want you to think about this before you answer in the comments. If tomorrow NASA announced they'd found evidence of life on the moon, not microbes, but something intelligent, how would you feel? Would it change your faith in science, in history, in humanity's place in the universe? Or deep down, would you feel like you already knew? Because maybe, just maybe, this truth has been echoing in our myths and dreams all along. Imagine for a moment that you're standing on the moon's surface. It's silent, so silent that even your heartbeat feels too loud. The black sky stretches endlessly above, and Earth, that glowing blue marble, hangs in the distance like a memory. You take a slow step, and the fine gray dust floats, almost unnaturally slow, before settling again. Everything feels frozen in time, except something deep inside you whispers, "You're not alone." There's a reason that silence feels so heavy. Because when the Apollo astronauts were there, that same silence was broken more than once, not by radio interference, not by static, but by sounds no one could explain. Buzz Aldrin once described hearing a strange rhythmic noise, almost like a metallic thumping, as if something mechanical was resonating beneath them. He said it wasn't coming from his equipment. NASA brushed it off as equipment feedback, but Aldrin later admitted he never really believed that. Then there's the chilling story of Apollo 17, the final manned mission to the moon. During one of their orbits, astronaut Gene Cernan reported seeing a bright, moving light gliding along the surface, far below. It wasn't a reflection, and it didn't behave like debris. It moved with purposes parallel to their path, before vanishing behind a crater wall. When Mission Control was asked about it, they simply responded, "Copy that, we'll check the data." No explanation was ever given. And maybe the most puzzling case of all came years later when amateur astronomers using advanced telescopes started noticing strange geometric patterns along the moon's far side. Rectangular shadows, circular alignments, and glowing streaks that looked eerily artificial. One even captured what appeared to be a large, reflective object moving slowly across the lunar horizon and then disappearing entirely. Skeptics say it's tricks of light, digital glitches, or imagination. But if that's all it is, why does the data from professional observatories often vanish before the public can see it? Why do researchers who publish anomaly reports suddenly go quiet or have their findings reclassified? Some former defense insiders have hinted that the moon may not just be an ancient artifact, but an active monitoring post, possibly watching Earth. It's a theory that feels straight out of a sci-fi movie, until you realize how many ancient cultures described the moon as the eye of heaven. The Sumerians called it the watchful eye. The Egyptians believed it recorded the deeds of men. Could those poetic ideas have been born from something our ancestors actually saw or knew? In the 1970s, the Soviet Union conducted secret missions that have only recently been partially declassified. Their lunar probes captured high-resolution photos of unusual structures near the moon's southern pole, long shadows that looked like vertical pillars, each several hundred feet tall. Soviet scientists debated what they were. Some said geological spires. Others privately admitted they might be something else. Not natural. Not explainable. Then, in the 1990s, when NASA's Clementine mission mapped the moon using new imaging technology, something odd happened. Certain areas, especially on the far side, were blacked out. No images. Just digital voids. When questioned, NASA claimed data corruption. But hackers later found that those missing coordinates matched the exact spots where the Soviets had earlier reported the strange towers. Coincidence? Even stranger, in 2009, NASA deliberately crashed a spacecraft into a crater near the moon's south pole as part of the Lacrosse mission. The official reason? To study lunar dust for traces of water. But what if there was more to it? Some analysts have pointed out that the impact location was near one of those restricted coordinates, as if NASA was testing, or targeting, something below the surface. Because here's the thing, when the impact happened, seismometers recorded an echo that lasted far longer than expected, like hitting a hollow drum. Again. Just as in Apollo 12. The moon rang. Loudly. That same ringing pattern has fascinated scientists for decades. It's so consistent that NASA now believes the moon's crust might have massive empty cavities large enough to fit entire cities. Could these voids be remnants of ancient lava tubes? Or are they something far more intentional? Fast forward to today. We're in a new era of lunar exploration, but something feels different this time. China, India, Russia, and private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are racing to set up bases on the moon. NASA's Artemis program aims to return humans there within years. But behind the excitement, there's a quiet tension, because no one's talking about what might already be there. Chinese space agency insiders have reportedly observed unusual heat signatures on the lunar surface, heat where there shouldn't be any, far from sunlight. Their official report described it as geothermal activity, yet the moon has no internal heat source like Earth. What, then, could cause isolated thermal readings in perfect darkness? And it's not just heat. NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter has picked up faint electromagnetic anomalies, small signals, repeating in cycles. Not random static. Not background radiation. Patterns. Almost like beacons. Think about that for a second. A lifeless rock doesn't transmit rhythmic signals. Could it be machinery left behind by someone long ago, or something operating there even now? You know, sometimes when you look at the moon through a high-powered telescope, you can almost imagine lights flickering faintly along its rim. Thousands of skywatchers have reported it, especially during lunar eclipses. Small glowing spots that seem to move against the dark surface. NASA usually dismisses them as cosmic rays or sensor flares. But the patterns of those lights repeat. Over decades. Always in the same regions. And this is where the theories get even wilder. Some researchers believe the moon might serve as an observation post, not for humanity, but for whoever was here before us. Imagine a civilization advanced enough to move a celestial body into perfect orbit, hollow it out, and fill it with technology to monitor a planet's development. A civilization that could have been watching Earth for tens of thousands of years. Maybe even influencing it. Sounds unbelievable, right? But consider this, the moon is unique. No other moon in our solar system behaves like it. It's too big compared to the planet it orbits. Its orbit is too perfect. Its density too uniform. Some scientists have quietly said it's an anomaly among anomalies. And yet, we take it for granted, this glowing lantern in the sky that somehow just fits. There's an ancient legend from Central Asia that tells of a time when there was no moon. The story says the sky was once darker, the nights endless, until a great silver sphere appeared suddenly one night and brought balance to the earth. People feared it at first. They thought it was alive. Then they learned to worship it. Could that myth be describing a memory, a time before the moon was placed here? The idea that the moon was brought into orbit isn't as fringe as it sounds. Even Isaac Asimov, one of the world's most respected science writers, once said the moon's existence is the strangest coincidence in the solar system. He wasn't a conspiracy theorist. He was just honest enough to admit the math doesn't add up. And if the moon didn't form naturally, then the next question is the one that sends chills down the spine: who put it there? Because if someone did, if the moon was built, not born, then whoever did it had unimaginable power. Technology beyond our comprehension. Perhaps even the ability to manipulate planetary systems. And if they were advanced enough to do that, it's possible they're still around. Now, you might be wondering, why would anyone or anything choose to live on the moon? It's cold, airless, exposed to radiation. But from a strategic point of view, it's perfect. It offers an unbroken view of Earth, low gravity, and deep underground shelters that could protect against cosmic rays. If a species wanted to observe Earth discreetly, the moon is the ultimate vantage point. There are whispers in certain scientific circles that when humanity finally returns in the next few years, we might not be alone when we arrive. Some engineers working on Artemis missions have quietly speculated that unexpected data from the lunar surface, odd energy readings and unexplained interference suggest activity we don't yet understand. Publicly, NASA says nothing. But internally, they're preparing for unknown variables. Could it be they already suspect something? And here's where it all comes full circle: those early Apollo whispers, the strange radio silences, the unexplained lights, the hollow echoes, they all point toward one haunting possibility, that the moon we see every night isn't just a rock in the sky. It's a mystery, one that might contain the story of another civilization, possibly still active, hidden just beneath the surface. If that's true, what does it mean for us? Would we still see the moon the same way, or would we finally realize it's been watching us all along? Imagine humanity discovering, after thousands of years of looking up, that the moon, our symbol of calm, poetry, and wonder, isn't a silent rock at all. Imagine it's alive with history. A vault of secrets buried deep beneath its dust. When you think about it, every step we've taken toward understanding the moon seems to pull us deeper into mystery rather than clarity. Even now, with all our advanced telescopes and data, something about it refuses to make complete sense. And maybe that's intentional. Let's start with something unsettling that few people talk about: the moon beacons. In 2022, a group of independent radio astronomers in Japan detected periodic radio bursts coming from the far side of the moon. They weren't continuous, but repeating every 12 hours, exactly. When they checked for reflections from Earth's satellites, nothing matched. These bursts didn't correlate with solar winds or cosmic background noise either. They were sharp, rhythmic, and contained what seemed like structured patterns, faint but deliberate. NASA and JAXA later confirmed the signals but labeled them as unexplained transient activity. Unexplained, yet repeating. And then came the real surprise: those signals were traced back to a crater known as Daedalus. It's one of the deepest craters on the far side, surrounded by rugged cliffs that make it nearly impossible to observe from Earth. For decades, Daedalus has appeared in reports about strange lights and anomalies. Even Apollo 16 photographs showed odd linear features that didn't match any known geological formations. Could it be a coincidence that signals are coming from the same spot that's been mysterious for years? Or is something or someone still active there? We've always imagined the moon as a dead world, but the data keeps whispering otherwise. When Apollo astronauts placed seismic sensors on the surface, they recorded moonquakes that didn't behave like earthquakes. Instead of fading quickly, the tremors echoed like something hollow beneath was amplifying the sound. Scientists at the time called it ringing events, baffled by how long they lasted. One of them even joked, "The moon is like an old gong that someone keeps hitting." But that wasn't just a poetic statement. If the moon is hollow or has vast inner chambers, those cavities could theoretically support something. Not necessarily life as we know it, but energy, machinery, perhaps even dormant systems left by whoever might have once called it home. Let's go deeper, literally. In 2014, researchers using NASA's Grail mission discovered massive underground tunnels beneath the lunar surface, ancient lava tubes stretching for miles, some wide enough to fit entire cities. Officially, they're believed to be volcanic in origin. But here's the issue: there's no evidence that the moon ever had the kind of intense volcanic activity necessary to create tubes of that scale. It's as if they were formed deliberately, excavated rather than erupted. Some scientists have quietly suggested these tunnels could one day serve as human habitats. But maybe they already are habitats. Just not ours. And it's not just underground mysteries. There are surface clues too, like the Shackleton anomaly. Near the moon's south pole lies Shackleton crater, a region that's been attracting attention for years. Satellites scanning the area picked up unusually strong radar reflections, as if something metallic was buried beneath the regolith. Metallic materials that don't occur naturally on the moon. It's one of the reasons major space agencies now want to build their first base right there. But no one talks about the anomaly. It's brushed aside, labeled as data noise. Now, let's talk about something even more chilling: the whispers of lunar watchers. In 2009, when NASA's LaCrosse mission intentionally crashed a probe into the moon, multiple telescopes recorded not one, but two separate flashes, one from the impact itself and another a few kilometers away, milliseconds later. That second flash shouldn't have existed. It wasn't part of the plan, and no secondary debris could have caused it. Some astronomers believe something reacted to the impact. Something that responded. It's easy to dismiss such stories. After all, our minds are wired to connect dots even when none exist. But what if, this time, the dots do connect? There's a concept in planetary science known as the artifact hypothesis. It suggests that if a non-human civilization once visited our solar system, the best place for them to leave long-term markers wouldn't be Earth, where erosion and civilization would erase them, but airless worlds like the Moon or Mars. Worlds that stay unchanged for billions of years. If that's true, then the moon is exactly where we should be looking for signs of ancient visitors. And maybe, just maybe, we've already found them, we just haven't recognized them for what they are. Think about the strange monolithic shadows photographed by the lunar orbiter missions, those long, thin, tower-like shapes standing vertically in impossible positions. The Blair cuspids, as they were called, are still unexplained. Their arrangement, too precise to be random, almost resembles patterns used in navigation, like ancient lighthouses marking coordinates. Could these have been built to signal something? Or to watch something? If so, who is being watched? Maybe us. Some scientists have speculated that the moon's orbit is so precisely tuned it's almost as if it's meant to maintain stability for Earth's life. If the moon's size or distance were slightly off, our tides, seasons, and even climate patterns would collapse into chaos. So here's a thought: what if the moon wasn't just placed there to observe Earth, but to protect it? A guardian left behind by a civilization that understood cosmic balance far better than we do. That would explain why it's been described as a shepherd of life in countless myths. The ancient Greeks called it Selene, the eternal watcher. The Hindus named it Chandra, the calm guardian. The Native Americans believed the moon was an ancestor's spirit, watching and guiding. Different cultures, different languages, yet the same message: it watches. And maybe it still does. It's a strange thought that while we sleep under its pale glow, something ancient might be stirring just beyond our sight. Maybe they've been there all along, maintaining silence, waiting for us to be ready, or foolish enough, to return. And perhaps that's why we stopped going back after Apollo. Maybe we weren't told to. But now, as Artemis prepares to send humans back within the next few years, one can't help but wonder what they'll really find. Will the first astronauts to set foot there again walk on untouched dust, or will they awaken something that's been waiting beneath it for centuries? If there really is someone or something living on the moon, perhaps they've been watching our every step of evolution. Maybe they've been here since before we called ourselves human. Maybe they're the reason we've always looked up at the moon and felt a strange sense of connection, a silent, ancient familiarity we can't explain. It's a haunting possibility, but one that could change everything we think we know about life, the universe, and ourselves. It's almost poetic, isn't it? For thousands of years, humanity looked up at the moon, our silent companion, our mirror in the sky, and wondered what secrets it might hold. Myths spoke of gods, spirits, even lost civilizations living there. For centuries, it was just a dream. But now, with every new discovery, the dream feels strangely less impossible. We've seen structures that shouldn't exist, heard transmissions no one can explain, and observed movements on a place that was supposed to be still and dead. So, what if, and this is the question that keeps haunting scientists, researchers, and dreamers alike, what if someone is living on the moon? Maybe not like us. Maybe not in cities or houses. But perhaps in a way we don't yet understand. After all, there are things we still can't explain. Why does the moon ring like a bell when struck, as NASA's seismic tests once recorded? Why do certain craters seem to glow not from sunlight, but from within? Why do some astronauts, trained in logical, report seeing flashes, shadows, even movement outside their craft when no one else was there? It's almost as if the moon watches us back. Let's imagine for a moment, what if an ancient race colonized the moon millions of years ago, long before humans existed? They might have built beneath the surface, hidden from the scorching sunlight and cosmic radiation. Maybe what we think are craters are actually entrances, sealed, buried, or disguised over millennia. Even the Apollo missions, though triumphant, were brief. A handful of days, a few steps, and then humanity turned away, as if something or someone told us not to return. Since 1972, no human has set foot on the moon again. That's over 50 years. And it's strange, because with all our technology, all our ambition, we've gone to Mars with robots, to asteroids, even beyond Pluto with probes. But not back to the moon. Was it just politics? Or something deeper? Many whispers say astronauts saw something they weren't allowed to speak about publicly. Buzz Aldrin once described seeing a strange light following Apollo 11. NASA brushed it off, but his tone said otherwise. Other astronauts hinted that the moon wasn't as empty as they were told. That perhaps, it was already occupied. Imagine being up there, in the silent vastness, the Earth glowing blue beneath you, and then catching a glimpse of movement on the lunar horizon. A shadow that doesn't belong. A flicker of light that isn't your reflection. The radio crackles, and mission control doesn't answer. You're not alone. But who or what could it be? Some theorists believe the moon is a hollow structure, maybe even artificial. They suggest it's a kind of observation post, a base created by an ancient civilization, or even by extraterrestrials who've been watching Earth for ages. Others say that beneath the dust and rock lies a vast labyrinth of tunnels, remnants of an extinct species or hidden habitats of something still alive. And here's where it gets stranger. Recent data from China's Chang'e missions and India's Chandrayaan orbiters have shown heat signatures, unexpected magnetic fields, and anomalies near the lunar poles. There are structures that appear geometric, lines too straight, formations too deliberate to be natural. The more we look, the more questions we find. Could it be remnants of an ancient outpost? Or signs that someone or something still lives there? One theory suggests that these beings, if they exist, might not be physical in the way we understand. Maybe they're energy-based life forms, able to survive without oxygen or water. The moon's strange electromagnetic field could sustain them. Maybe they've been there long before us and we're the visitors. Think about this, every night, billions of humans look up at the same glowing orb, unaware that something might be looking right back. Even today, strange radio signals have been picked up from the moon's far side. Astronomers call them transient bursts. NASA calls them interference. But some scientists have noted patterns, rhythms, almost like communication attempts. Are we picking up whispers from the dark side of the moon? The more we uncover, the more the mystery deepens. And maybe, that's the point. The moon has always been humanity's mirror, reflecting not just our light, but our imagination, our fears, our longing to know we're not alone. If there truly is life on the moon, ancient, hidden, or beyond comprehension, maybe they've been guiding us all along. Watching silently as we evolved, as we reached for the stars, as we dared to step on their home. Maybe they don't want to harm us. Maybe they just don't want to be found. But soon, we might have no choice but to find out. With NASA's Artemis program planning to return humans to the moon and private missions preparing lunar bases, the next decade could finally reveal the truth. And when that moment comes, will we discover ruins? Machines? Or ice staring back at us from the shadows of the craters? Whatever the truth is, it's waiting. Silent. Patient. Just beyond the reach of our understanding. Maybe we've always been sharing our night sky, not just with stars, but with watchers who've been there all along. So, the next time you step outside at night, and the moon blows above you, take a moment. Look closely. Somewhere up there, in that endless gray desert, secrets older than humanity might still be alive, waiting for us to look a little deeper. And when we finally do, the question won't be, is someone living on the moon? It'll be, how long have they been watching us? Thank you for exploring this mystery with me. If this story made you think differently about our closest celestial neighbor, give this video a like, share it with someone who loves cosmic mysteries, and subscribe to World's Echoes for more journeys into the unknown. Because out there, somewhere beyond the horizon, the universe is still whispering secrets. We just have to listen.